What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Shortcut from the Iron Edge. I'm Ken Novitsky, and I want to start off this episode with a quote. It's a quote from Braveheart. How apt, you know? And the quote is, "Your heart is free, have the courage to follow it." And the reason I say that, and the reason I'm starting with that, is that, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, half hour ago, I put up a post on my Instagram with that being the initial line of the text, or the caption, saying that I'm going to compete again. And I know a lot of you are probably sitting there being like, oh, well, what the fuck? Like, you said that you weren't going to compete again. And, you've been dealing with this identity crisis and, yada, yada, yada for all these years. And, now you're getting over it and blah, blah, blah. And you used to be a strongman and you're not now. And here's the reality of it all. I've been lying to myself for 5 fucking years. I'm not okay with walking away. I'm not okay stepping away from the sport after another injury and not writing the last chapter of as I see fit. And ultimately, I want to know if I can still fucking go. So I'm going to compete at Scotland's Strongest Man next year. And the whole reason I put that quote in there is, as people, we should be brave enough and strong enough to chase whatever wild thing is in our head for our lives. You get one fucking shot. And, we can sit here and be like, oh, well, I might. Here's the thing. I might go to Scotland's Strongest Man. It's been 15 years since I competed there. If I can go, if I qualify next year, it'll be the finals in September. It'll be 15 years since I competed there last. 15 years since I won it. And 15 years since I become the first or the youngest ever Scotland's Strongest Man at 24. It'll be 15 fucking years. I don't know what my body can handle anymore. I don't know what it can do. And that's fucking terrifying. But I want to see what it can do. And as a fucking person, and this is the lesson I'm trying to put out, is that we should all have these wild fucking crazy dreams and have the courage to chase it, no matter the outcome. It might come down that I get my ass completely fucking tanked and I come 15th and I make a fool of myself. Or in people's eyes, I make a fool of myself. But the reality is that you can't touch the fucking legacy I had back home. You can't take away the things I did when I was younger. And I'm excited for this. I'm excited to push myself for an endeavor for a year and a half and see what I can actually fucking do. And that's the topic of today's podcast. I like following your heart and being true to yourself. I have an immense amount of work to do to prepare myself for this undertaking. Luckily, my body isn't in that bad a shape, but I am under no illusion that the level of Scottish strongman is head and shoulders above what it used to be. It is at an all-time high. I think that me coming on the scene and some of the stuff I did in my younger years really helped propel Scotland back into some of the higher ranks. I'm not owning that one bit. I'm just saying I think I started some of that. The real guys who put it on the next fucking level were Tom and Luke Stone, like a whole other fucking level. But I was competing in a time where Scotland was slowly building again, and it was such a cool thing to be a part of. And I never got to finish my career as I wanted it to. I got injured, and I said, "Fuck this! Another injury, fuck this!" And I walked away. And I told myself for 5 years I was okay with it. I'm okay walking away. I'm okay not competing again. I'm okay hiking in the summer, snowboarding in the winter, putting effort into the business. And for a little while, yeah, that's true. And then I had to start really suppressing it. I would go to OSG or whatever show and I'd look and I'd be like, could I still go? Could I still go? And I'd be like, no, that's not, dude, you're silly. You're silly. Doesn't matter if you could go. Like that's past. Nah. Be true to yourself. Be true to what you want in life. Chase it. Ultimately, like I said, we get one fucking shot. And I don't want to be the guy sitting here in 50 years' time, if I make it that long, 88 or 89, saying, fuck, I really wish I did that. I really wish I chased that dream. There's one thing I can't get out of my head, and I get emotional talking about this, and I told like two people about it. Actually, that's a lie. I told one person. I can't get the thought of me walking up to the lineup after the competition, no matter where I am, whether it's 20th, 15th, 10th, 5th, or if by some fucking miracle, wild old Ken comes back and he takes the fucking thing, which don't get me wrong, I ain't thinking that for a second. But no matter the placing, I can't get this thought out of my head of walking up there with my little boy, 18 months he'll be 18 months at that point in time. And I can't get the thought of walking up there, holding his hand, getting the medal, getting the handshake from Stuart or whoever's doing the prize giving, and just being able to be there with him in that moment and to soak it in, to close the chapter, to write the last line. And it's fucking cool. It's really fucking cool to think about. My dad was with me at my very first Scotland's Strongest Man in 2008. He was there with my mum and my brother. He's no longer here. And I think it would be a real full circle moment to walk up there with my little boy and just close it out. So that's what's on my mind. And that's the crazy thing I want to chase. You know, some people have said, well, you're not the guy you used to be. You're not the athlete you used to be. You've got these injuries. You've got this, you've got that. So fucking what? Still have something I want to chase. I'm still alive. You know, I can still wake up in the fucking morning, put my socks on, and get after it. Do I have a lot of work to do? Fuck yeah, I do. I have a terrifying amount of work to do, if I'm honest. But this is something that I need to do. It's not for anybody else. And I think a lot of us need to start living like that. You know, there's a saying that I feel is very apt when a lot of us get into this grind of daily life and we get stuck in the rigmarole of everything being the same. And then that is that a lot of us, all of us, need to start living like we're the third monkey in line for Noah's Ark and it's starting to fucking rain. Because a hell of a lot of us would wake the fuck up then and we'd start living to our full potential. We'd start chasing our wildest dreams and we'd actually be true to ourselves and we'd actually stop worrying about everybody else's perception of us or what someone's going to think if I go for this or, you know, shit, if I fall short of the mark, how are they going to think about me? It doesn't matter if I fall short of a mark. I've at least put it on the line. I've put my balls on the line. I've stepped into the arena. I've chased it. I've gone up against the best of the best in Scotland again. And nobody could take that away from me. And that's the part that I want. I'll be walking into the qualifier at 38. Last time I did a qualifier, I was 24. Wild to think about. But the excitement level within me and the mental, like, I don't even know the word. I'm just so fucking happy to be doing this again. And yeah, there's probably a part of me that's worried at the end of it. Okay, well, what's going to happen next September? You know, September 2029, or sorry, what even year is it? 26, September 2027. You got to go over this. You're going to have to go through this all again, and you have to walk away from the sport and be okay with that. And the wild thing is, I think it'll actually be a hell of a lot easier then because I will have chased that one thing that I wanted to chase again. And this is not about getting back to Britain's. This is not about getting to Worlds. You know, I've done some of that shit. I've been very close to Worlds a couple of times. been a tester at world. So I've lived some of those experiences. Like, my career is vast. I've got to travel the world. I've got multiple Scottish titles. I've got, stuff behind Eddie at UK's, the first ever junior UK's champion, and different things of that nature. And the excitement level in me for life again, thinking about this, is wild. I've been training hard over the last 8 weeks, and I was going to wait until basically end of the year to say anything about this. I was like, but you know what? I'm so excited, and I've come to this realization that it doesn't matter where I place. No one can take away what I did. It doesn't tarnish anything. I'm putting everything on the line again. I get to be part of that brotherhood again. I'm tickled pink, as they say, to be taking on this challenge, because I challenge myself at times. I do. Like this winter, I would go and hike the local mountain, and I'd hike it up it. I'd do all the trails with a snowboard on my back in, 6-degree weather, or I can't even remember what the weather is. All I remember is checking it when it into Celsius, and it was really fucking cold. And hiking up and riding down and push myself on hikes with my wife in the summertime, and stuff like that. And nothing compares for me to walking into that arena and just hearing the crowd, or that adrenaline, that fucking adrenaline hit on event one. And it's like, it's fucking on, it's fucking go time. And chase the fucking dream, because ultimately everything can be gone tomorrow. It can go quicker than you can even comprehend. So this is not Ken's giving up and he's going back to his old identity. That's absolutely not what this is. Because I need to be a different level and a different type of athlete than I was before. I can't go and train the way I used to and put my head through a brick wall 12 times during the fucking session just because that's what needs to be done. I need to be smarter than I used to be, which probably won't be difficult. But now it's a case of I have to balance this with home life, work, kid. And I think that in itself is a lot more rounding than where I was previously. This is not a case of Ken is going back to strongman for a coping mechanism that it was for a decade, probably longer than that after I lost my dad. This is Ken realizing who he is at his core, what he loves, and tying up the boots one more time to chase a dream that people think cannot be chased or should not be chased. The lesson I would leave you with from this episode would be, no matter fucking what, no matter what your wife says, your husband says, your parents say, your kids say, your friends say, the troll on social media, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and know in your heart that you are chasing what you want to do in life and that you are being true to yourself, I don't think there's any bigger win than that. I think we can all have a lot happier lives if we just are true to ourselves, no matter what that is. So I'm going to go train because I got some fucking work to do. I'll catch you down the road.